Hello queens, angels, and goddesses. Welcome back to my channel. Warning, this contains boy love, and if you don't like it then please get off my channel. Water pistol. Grinning face with cowboy hat. Tsukishima did not like Kageyama. Him, a commoner, liking the king? How absurd. But, he was also smart enough to realize that he did have growing affections towards Kageyama. What he doesn't know, is how in the world it happened. Tsukishima really disliked Kageyama when they first met, so he bullied the king, and it gave him pleasure that the names and taunts worked on Kageyama. So, obviously, he kept doing it. Really, he disliked the blue-eyed boy. Kageyama loved volleyball too much for Tsukishima. Kageyama was too arrogant for Tsukishima, hypocritical, he knows. Kageyama was too much for Tsukishima, period. Tsukishima knew a part of him took in the pleasure of being able to rile up the blue-eyed raven. A part of him was pleased at how much despair the ravenet was clearly in by being called king. When Karasuno met Aoba Josei, Tsukishima really did not have any shits to give towards the team, except he also knew that specific members of that team had ruined Kageyama. Though, again, he could care less. But what was getting his attention, was how Kageyama acted around them. How Kageyama would restrain himself from talking to them, but you could clearly see how his eyes always wandered to three specific people. How he would still address their names with a soft tone, even when hurt clearly shone in his eyes. Now, that was annoying. Then Oikawa came, and things got even more annoying. Kageyama's attention was only on Oikawa now. Kageyama's attention was on how to beat Oikawa, even if this was only a practice match. It aggravated the blonde greatly, but this wasn't his problem, so he shouldn't care. Instead, he opted to just watch the drama. Time went on, and begrudgingly, he started to take volleyball more seriously. He started to take his relationship with the Karasuno members more seriously as well. Ugh, now he calls them gag friends. Disgusting, he knows. But the biggest change of them all was how he got closer to Kageyama, especially after their loss to Aoba Josei aka Oikawa, Iwaizumi, Kandaichi, and Kunami. Now they really worked in a team, and Tsukishima, also begrudgingly, started to get used to Kageyama's presence. The blonde couldn't bully him anymore. What once was bullying was now only teasing. He could only tease the king now, and the middle blocker hated that. Kageyama didn't react as harshly anymore. Oh, how he hated that. Then they won against Aoba Josei, and now the old Kageyama wasn't there anymore. I mean, yes, he did have the cringy evolution when they were facing off against Date Tech, in the future, but right now, in that moment, he was entirely new, for the past Tsukishima. Maybe the middle blocker was the only one who noticed, scratch that, Aoba Josei noticed it too, but the person standing next to him was someone stronger than before. It seemed like Kageyama was finally able to find another piece of himself after that game. And when he called out, "What's this? Is the king evolving? Are you going to leave us, your subjects, behind now?" Not the other way around. Instead of responding like how Tsukishima expected, which was yelling and insulting him to his face, he got a small peaceful smile, you could barely see it if you didn't look close enough. He got a faceful of blue eyes that was sparkled with happiness and gratitude, and a small "Thank you, Tsukishima." Then Kageyama walked away from him. And Tsukishima stood there, in shock. Wait, gratefulness? But why? Why would Kageyama be so happy and thankful towards him of all people? Why was his heart thumping against his chest so much? And then he started to notice the little quirks Kageyama had, because nowadays his eyes always strayed to the setter. He noticed how Kageyama always chewed on the straw of his milk after he was done drinking it. He noticed how Kageyama liked to tap his pencil in a specific rhythm when he was trying to concentrate. He noticed how Kageyama let people pet him on the head and how he always enjoyed it when they did. He noticed how he always had this pink hue to his cheeks whenever he played on the court. He noticed how the king always trembled in excitement when it was time to practice with the team. Tsukishima noticed how deep his blue eyes were, yet they always shimmered with happiness whenever he was near a volleyball. And how his eyes shimmered whenever he was with them. With Karasuno. With the third years, the second years, and the first years. He noticed how content Kageyama was by just being near anyone from the team. How Kageyama enjoyed the time they spent together. How Kageyama let himself loose only in front of them. And he couldn't help but find all of that endearing. Whoa, hold up. The fuck did he just say? Just how much did he stare at Kageyama to find out all of that? He was able to fucking find that much information in only a month. But, if he were to go back to his previous train of thought, he noted that there was one thing out of all the little things Kageyama did that he found that stood out the most. Tsukishima noticed how the name King was no longer an insult to Kageyama, just a part of his past, but the glasses wearer noticed how it still indeed did hurt him, even if it was just the tiniest. But that wasn't all. Nope, not at all. Actually, Tsukishima noticed how he was the only one that could get away with calling Kageyama king. Other people tried, like Hinata and Tanaka, but all they got were snarls and insults thrown back. But when Tsukishima said it, all Kageyama did was grunt in response. It was now only a nickname between the two of them. And with that knowledge, a big small part of him was pleased. Maybe that's when he started to like the king. As the feelings grew even more, Yamaguchi noticed that nosy bastard that understood the blonde way too well for his own good, had the audacity to look amused. Tsukishima never hated Tadashi more than he did now, because all the freckled boy did was tease him. Like, that's his job. He does the teasing. No, Tadashi. He teases, not be teased. But Tsukishima could care less, because he was actually not crushing on Kageyama. I mean, sometimes he did give Kageyama his pork bun, but that was only because Kageyama was too skinny and would slow the team down. Okay, maybe sometimes he accidentally gets a carton of milk instead of water from Kageyama's favorite vending machine, and every time he just coincidentally runs into Kageyama, and since the middle blocker didn't want the milk, obviously he gave it to the Ravenet because he was a kind soul who pitied the shorter boy. Fine, so maybe he did offer the boy tutor sessions, but that was only because said boy would slow the team down. Wait, he already said that. I mean, because he was a kind soul who pitied. Fuck, he already used that excuse too. Okay, fine. Maybe he did have a very tiny attraction towards the boy, but that was all it was. Yamaguchi was just over-exaggerating it. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. Was what he previously thought. Fuck, he did like Kageyama. And he only realized it because of his stupid tendency to be possessive over the things he did like. He only realized it when he saw how Kageyama was getting too chummy with the Nakoma and Fukurodani captains, during the training camp. But even then, he just dismissed it as the captains being their over-friendly and annoying selves. And then their setters had to come join in with Kuru and Bakuto in coddling Kageyama and teaching him moves, because of course the king wouldn't skip the chance to learn even more about volleyball. So now, Kageyama was too busy to even talk to Tsukishima when it wasn't team training. And when he did have time, either one of the four boys would be sticking with the king except Kenma, he stuck to Hinata, or they would be all Kageyama talked about. He didn't have anything against them, honestly, they were just so damn annoying. Taking up all of Kageyama's time and mind, not like he cared. But of course Tadashi noticed, and after some prodding, finally got Tsukishima to confess that he did, in fact, like Kageyama Tobio. The king. Him, a commoner? Held affections for the king? Fuck. What the hell did he do wrong in his past life to deserve this? Warning: this fanfiction does not belong to me, neither does the fan art. Credits to the original artist and author to the fan art and the fanfiction. Haikyuu does not belong to me either. Well, bye children, smiling face with hearts.